Going door to door. Sounds scary, doesn't it? Like the old Fuller Brush Man or something like that. What I'd like to cover today is why go door to door? Where to go? What to say once you're there? And what to do afterwards. So it's a why, where, what, and a follow-up. We'll take those one by one. Number one, why go door to door? To quote Robert Heinlein, it's where the votes are. They're behind that closed door. He wrote a phenomenal book before he passed away. He wrote this in the 40s. It's called Take Back Your Government. It was briefly in print after he passed away. His wife Virginia got it out there. I scored 2 copies of it. These things are going on eBay for $50 to $100 a piece now. This is a Bible for how to conduct a grassroots congressional campaign. If you can find it, by all means, do it. But he puts very great stock in door to door. And a lot of what I'm going to tell you now is out of this book. I've done it personally. Trust me, it works. Take Back Your Government, Robert Heinlein. Excellent book. Going door to door serves 2 key purposes. 1, you get to meet the voters. And 2, the voters get to meet you. Now, when you get to meet the voters, they can see that we don't have 2 heads, we libertarians. A lot of times they have no clue what a libertarian is. And I'll touch more on that later on too. But the better part is that you get to meet them. You find out that they really don't hate us. Most of them, anyway. Some of them. Most of them, they like us. Oh, I agree with your position on the war on drugs. I agree with you on taxes. But your foreign policy, whatever it is, you focus on the plus side. So, let me get into the details of these. That's just a quick overview. One of the most important reasons why you want the voters to meet you is so they'll vote for you. People like to vote for people they know. Otherwise, it's just a name on a ballot. A lot of women will say, oh, it's a girl on the ballot, I'll vote for her just because she's a woman. But if they've met you, they'll say, oh, he was a nice guy. I really like that guy. Another thing it'll do is it'll generate a buzz. They'll talk to the neighbor. Hey, guess who came to our house yesterday? Yeah, that libertarian guy running for state rep. Did he come to your house? You know. So people like to vote for people they know. So that's one reason why you do it. Another reason is you may be surprised by their reaction when you come to visit them. There's one guy, he was just impressed that I came to his door. He didn't agree with all my positions. He says, I agree with some of these, not all, but that's okay. Because you came to my door, put a yard sign out here before you leave. Okay. Another guy looked at it, he says, dude, you're my man. If you give me some of these flyers, I'll go to my own neighbors door to door. Is that okay? Like I said before, anytime a volunteer says, I want to do X, the answer is yes, you may do X. And that's happening more often than I can tell you. I had one guy from AMY, Cycle Group. He did a whole neighborhood. He spent 3 weekends in a row going door to door for me when I was running for state rep. You can't buy that kind of stuff. You ask where you get volunteers? Door to door is where you can get them. Another one, I ran into the guy, talked to him for a while. Nothing special about the encounter. 2 weeks later, I was in the corner bar, and I met the guy in the bar. He said, hey, you're the libertarian guy. Let me buy you a beer. Free beer! Doesn't get better than that, right? Actually, it happened. George, he's over on my school road, right behind us. So that's reason number 1. People get to know you. You get to be buds with them. And everybody votes for people they know. Number 2, and the more important one, is that you get to know the voters. That's important because, and I already touched on this, you'll actually find out what it is they want. You know, we libertarians, oh, we know it all, right? People want less taxes, less government, less spending, all these things. No. You don't know what the voters want. Voters may agree with you on that, maybe not. The only way you're going to find out if they agree with you is to be knocking on their door and asking them. Most people, they have more concrete needs. My neighbor's dog keeps barking. What are you going to do for the schools? What's your stand on abortion, young man? That's what they care about. And you won't know what they care about until you knock on that door. But once you do, now you can take your flyer and you can start putting things that are important on. Me, I have 2 flyers. I know I have both with me. I don't have them in hand. One of them's got this cute picture of me and the family on it. Another one's got me and the family out camping. Now, depending upon the answers that I get from the person, I'll give them one or the other, or other varieties that I have. I have another one for motorcycle people, let those who ride decide about the helmet issue. But when you go door to door, you find out all of these things. And if you don't go door to door, when it comes to the issues, you're living in a vacuum. And vacuums suck. You're not going to win unless you pay attention. And once you know what the voters want, you can tailor your message to fit it. That doesn't mean you compromise. That means you just take that piece of the libertarian platform that you know they're going to agree with, and that's all you talk about. Now, if we do that a little more further on. Did I skip it? Nope. No, it's coming up. Okay. Now we know why we want to be out there. Because they'll learn about us, we'll learn about them, and as Heinlein says, that's where the votes are. So where do you go? You don't just go door to door when you go door to door. You go door to door strategically. Your time is valuable, and you may not be able to hit every house, so you want to be able to hit certain houses, certain people first. And the first people, number one priority, they have to be registered voters. Because people who aren't registered are not going to vote for you. Don't waste your time. Now, in 1997, when I ran for township commissioner, we said, let's go for the unregistered people. Let's register them, vote for them. Obviously, they're disenfranchised. We libertarians, it's just what they want. It was a waste of time. These people did not come out to vote. You go up there, I see you're not registered to vote. I got a voter registered. I ain't registered to vote. I'll call for jury duty. No, that puts me on this list. I'm an anarchist. I don't vote for anybody. It only encourages them. Everybody has a solid reason why they're not registered. You may run into a few people say, oh, I just moved into the neighborhood or something like that. You may catch one or two out of 100. You want to try it? God bless you, go ahead and do it. I've been there, I've done it. It doesn't work. Number one, happy registered voters. How do you know they're registered? Now, I don't know about Jersey. In Pennsylvania, we have something called the SURE database, the statewide uniform registry of electors. For $35, they will give you the name, address, and voting history of 8 million people. Can't go wrong with that. Our state party has it up on the web. If I want anything about any voter anywhere, from their birthday to whether or not they come out and vote or not, I'm online, and a minute later, I have that information. I can download entire street lists. All right, I want to do the neighborhood. I'm going to libertarians today. Print out a list of all the libertarians and where they live. Within minutes. Get that free voter list. I'm sure you can get it, or whatever. You can get it for free in Pennsylvania too. There are tricks you can use. Mine is free. But get that voter list of registered voters. So now you have your list. You're thinking, I'm going to go door to door. Who do you go to first? Libertarians, of course. Because you may run into it. Well, first of all, it's going to be uplifting. Because you're not going to have a door slammed in your face. Usually, some people registered libertarian don't realize why they're registered libertarian. And you'll run across that, maybe 1 in 100. But generally speaking, you go up to libertarian, dude, thanks for running. What can I do to help? Well, I got my volunteer list right here. Let's not get your name and address. By the way, I have here my donation envelope. Let me leave this here. I don't know if you can afford it, so let me just leave this with you. So it's a source of volunteers, a source of money. So you get the libertarians first. Next, the nonpartisans. Not the D's, not the R's, not too old party people. These are the people who are already disenfranchised with the system and ones who are more likely to vote for you. In Pennsylvania, that runs about 15% of the electorate. If I'm looking for 1 out of 8, I've got right there more than 1 out of 8. So, libertarians, then nonpartisans. Number 3, super voters, people who vote in every election. Now, I've got that SURE database, and it says not who people voted for, but the fact that they voted. You look for the people, just drop into a spreadsheet, pull them out, the ones who vote in every election. They're the ones that you visit third. Odds are good that they're not going to vote for you. Because if they're super voters, they're Democrats or Republicans. And they're probably 80 years old. But a lot of them are Tea Party people. And they're looking for anybody to vote for other than those 2 old party candidates. So number 3 are your super voters. And even if they won't vote for you, at least they should know about it. The next group you visit, and this is a lower priority, are young people. Young people don't vote. But if you're in the neighborhood anyway, if you're visiting super voters, get a young one. Super voter, young one, mix them in there. Because young people are a great source of volunteer. Young people, sometimes they get all fired up. 9 times out of 10, they don't do anything. No slight against the younger people, but they're unreliable. We will find your absolute best volunteers among them. I already mentioned the guy who was my youth coordinator in 2002, when half of my appearances were in schools. And I blamed him for such a high percentage. He just got one after the other. There's another, she was a girl at the time, 15 years old, out near Harrisburg. She's great at putting together these little videos. So every time I went somewhere, she'd be there with a camera, and she did a whole series of videos. You go to my website, they're out there, from the 2002 campaign. Now, she's in her 20s, and she's doing web work for her. Anyway, some young people do good, so you want to visit them. After you've done the libertarians, the nonpartisans, the super voters, and the young people, then just do everybody else. And they're the ones you can just go registered voter to registered voter. It doesn't matter if you're doing Democrats or Republicans first, it depends upon your hot issue. It's up to you. Alright? And one last item, always go during daylight. There's nothing more frightening than an 80-year-old Tea Party lady when you're knocking on her door at 9 p.m. She's saying, "Oh, it's the IRS! Honey, get the shotgun!" You know what that's like. Okay, so we know why we want to go door to door. We know who we're going to go visit. Now there you are. You're on the doorstep. Now what? Well, ring the bell, idiot, right? That's the first thing you want to do. A lot of doorbells don't work. I found that out. You ring that bell, you count to 15. No answer? Knock firmly. 3-4 knocks. Count to 15. Pull out your flyer. Nobody answers. "Dear Mrs. So-and-so," you got the street list. "I'm sorry I missed you. I'll try to stop back." And you leave the flyer, not in the mailbox, it's against postal regulations, between the door, under something, slide it through a slot or something like that. I had a guy call me back, "I'm sorry I missed you. Give me your yard sign." Because your flyer on it has your phone number on it, email address, and everything like that. Now, you hit the doorbell, or you knocked, and they've answered. Now what? Number 1, smile. Smile buys the world. Number 2, be brief. Brevity buys the world. This person is doing something. They're watching TV, they're putting in a new kitchen, they're playing with their kids, you don't know what they were doing. Be brief. Come right to the point. Just smile and say, "Good afternoon, Mr. So-and-so. My name is Ken. I'm running for state representative in the area here. I just want to stop by and introduce myself and ask if you had any concerns with the neighborhood." Shut up. Wait them out. They'll stand there. I don't know. I guess things are okay. And wait them out. And eventually they'll either shut it down and say, "Nah, I can't think of anything." Or they'll say, the school's there. Or they'll say, "The neighbor's dog is barking," or "Abortion! Do you have an abortion?" Whatever it is, wait them out. Now here comes the hard part. This is the hardest part of going door to door. You gotta stand there and listen. You gotta pay attention. Hold your chin, tilt your head sideways, nod, whatever it may be. And if once they slow down or stop or ask you a question, give them a brief, and I mean brief, targeted answer. You're absolutely right. Taxes are too high. I pledge to reduce taxes by vetoing every tax increase. You're right. Education is so important that we really should leave it in the hands of government. I'm in favor of homeschooling and allowing parents to choose, not the government. One sentence answer. This is a chance for your sound bites to get them in there. Whatever you do not spend the whole day with them. Have a timer in the back of your mind. When a minute goes by, extricate yourself gently. Well, thank you. I really appreciate you taking time. I just wanted to introduce myself. Last thing, here's my flyer. Don't give it first, because they're going to stop and read it, and it's going to shut down all communication. The last thing you do You should hand them the flyer last and then get out. Walk away. Never, ever sell before after the close. Any salesmen out there? That's a key thing of selling. After the buyer says yes, after you've done your pitch, don't keep selling. Stop. So you want to walk away. Once you do walk away, you only go so far, back down to the sidewalk, and you turn away from them so they know you're done. They're going to go inside, close the door. Maybe they'll stand there for a little bit reading your flyer. Maybe they'll even call you back. But again, try not to spend the whole day there. But here comes something very important. You pull out an index card or your sheet or whatever it is you're using to go from door to door, and you write down there, Mrs. Jones is concerned about abortion. Her dog's name is Fluffy. Her child's name is Billy and Bobby, and they're 6 and 8 years old. And she was very friendly. She was real nasty or whatever. You now have a profile of this person. It's called a Farley file, named after some machine politician from 100 years ago. Farley is the first one to do this. So if you want to know something, you've got all the information you want after you've gone door to door. And you can take your Farley file. When you get back home, you're going to key this into a spreadsheet. So you're going to have a list of all the nice people, all the people who abortion is important, who taxes are important, people with kids. And you're just going to be able to pull this out and do targeted visits, targeted mailings, targeted phone calls later on in the campaign. This Farley file is priceless. And even if they're not at home, do the same thing. I visited, nobody home. Nice looking house, big garden. Obviously they spend a lot of money, maybe a good source of donations. Everything goes into your Farley file. So that's it. It wasn't too tough. Why go? Where to go? What to say? And what to do afterwards. Any questions? Because what I'd like to do, I'd like to practice a little bit. Start with questions. Any questions? No questions. Okay.
How did you find enough time to go door to door? Or is it just as much time as you have and just target, libertarians first, independents, and then just as much time as you have left over, use for that in that order?
Well, believe it or not, it doesn't take as much time as you'd think. And it depends upon the race. Now, obviously, for governor of Pennsylvania, I can't go door to door to 8 million people. But when I ran for township commissioner, there were 2,200 voters, and they were in about 1,000 households. Now, 1,000 households, if I could visit 100 a day, work it out, that's 5 weekends. So it's not that tough. And a lot of people, they're not home. And you spend most of your time just writing. In less than a minute, you're on to the next house. Another thing is you can do crowded neighborhoods first. Part of my state rep district, we call it the Hills, all these big, fancy estates. Well, I don't do a whole lot of door-to-dooring there because it takes you 5 minutes to get from one house to the next. But there's another section down in Ardsley where it's almost row homes. It's like pop, 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 pop. And you could knock off 100, 200 homes in an hour. So another thing I did, this is during my big 97 race for town council, is I started in the spring. So in April, before the primary, when all the other candidates are out there, I'm out there walking the streets too. I've already hit all the libertarians. Now I got them early in the campaign. They know I'm out there. I got their number, they got mine. And I did all the nonpartisans. Now, and then after that I started the super voters, and I got through all them, then I started doing everybody else, and then the primary came, and I stopped. Because summertime then, nobody cares, nobody's thinking politics. And I let it go until Labor Day weekend. After Labor Day weekend, you're cool again. Then, after that, I started over. But not the libertarians, they already know me, and I pretty much counted on their vote. I started with the nonpartisans. Hey, I'm back! Oh yeah, I remember you from springtime. Yeah, you're still campaigning, that's cool. Sandy with the super voters. How is that nice young man again? How's Fluffy doing? You already know all of this. They're your old buddies. George, you gonna buy me another beer? Let's go down to the bar. It's great when you come back and somebody already knows you. You're friendly. So, that's how you find the time. You do it in the spring, you do it again, you do it on weekends. In my state rep, when I ran for state rep, there were 22,000 households, 46,000 voters, and that was a little bit tougher. I never hit every voter, but I hit all the libertarians, I hit all the nonpartisans twice, and I hit all the super voters twice, and I hit a lot of other people. That was the time when I had this other guy said, I'll do the whole neighborhood, and he did. So I got hit anyway. Sir?
At that time, what percentage did you get when you did that?
5%. It was a four-way race. It was me and an independent. The independent was a favorite son in one of the neighborhoods. He got 4%. I got 5. And it was an open seat, and then went up from there. It was a close race with the other two. Everybody thinks that libertarians tip races toward the Republicans. Ain't true. It's 50-50. We tip races either direction. Never believed that. So the Republican won that time by a narrow margin.
That was pretty good, 5%.
Yes, thank you. It's my first race. It was very encouraging. My best race was 25%.
25?
25,
How'd
yeah.
you do that?
Door to door.
25%.
Yeah.
Which race was that?
That was for town council. It was a doable race.
Yeah.
Town councils are two of the best. When you pick a race to go in, start out small, because that way you can learn the ropes, and you have a good chance of winning those kinds. In Montgomery County, my home county, in that year, 1997, we won 12 races. For the next 2 years, we had more elected libertarians than any other state in the nation, except for California. And we were just a county. A couple of those races, the person won with 1 vote. They saw nobody was running for a position. They wrote in their own name. They won. Interesting stuff. Anyway, door to door is gold. Any other questions? All right, I'm going to volunteer. We're going to do 3 of these. I'm going to volunteer, go on door to door. You're going to be the candidate. I will be the person behind the door. Who are the candidates here?
There's one.
So we got
Put your hand up. Put your hand up.
all right.
He just volunteered.
Well, he's busy. We'll get him when he comes back. Come on up. All right. Well, I'll give you the easy bit first, all right? Because there's 3 extremes. Okay. So I'm somebody.
Where am I going?
You're going door to door. I'm sitting at home and I'm reading the nutrition facts.
So who am I supposed to be? Am I supposed to be myself?
Yep.
Not running?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Is that rank me? No. No.
Yes.
Also, my name is Steven. I'm running for first county freeholder. If I introduce myself and see if you have any problems with the account.
No. Things are pretty good.
No problem at all?
Now that you mention it, I would really like world peace. Do you think we could stop all these beheadings and everything?
Well, I mean, I agree with you. We never should have headings, but I think that's above the position I'm running for.
Oh, that's too bad. Look like a nice guy.
If there's anything else, I think I'll give you my card. And if you have any questions, you can ask me.
Oh, okay.
So, thank you, sir. You have a nice day. And if I can solve all these, I'll get this for you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
You never shook my hand. You should shake my hand. You should do that first. All right. Very good. Here, you can have your card back too. Let's give him a hand. Now, he did many things right. He smiled. Well, you could have done a bigger smile. You got a good smile. Sitting there grinning at some of the things I'm saying, you got a nice big smile. You should use it. You're a little bit shy with your smile there. Another thing, you did not shake my hand. First thing you do, hi. I was yelled at by some old guy. How come you're not shaking my hand? You're afraid of me? Hi. And when you say you can't do something about something, you can always do something for somebody. Say, world peace, near and dear to my heart. I've got kids. We got to do things to make it work. That's why I'm running. I'm running because I've had enough, and I'm going to be able to bring world peace. I'm going to do my part. I may not succeed, but I'll try. Never say you can't do something. Other than that, good. And you did. The close is good. Here's my flyer. Thank you very much. Shake hands again. Go. I didn't see you stop and write things down, though. You're supposed to stop and write things down. All right, next up. Here's our other candidate. You're going to practice door to door. I want you to go through everything I just said.
I missed it.
You missed it. All right, well, I'm going to go back and study my nutrition facts. That's at the door. Oh, hello?
Hello, my name's Joe Bertline. I'm running for U.S. Senate. New Jersey is a libertarian candidate.
Libertarian?
Yes.
You're one of the libertarians?
Yes.
You guys are insane. Where's your second head? I wouldn't vote for you if you paid me.
Really?
Really?
Well, I hope you reconsider and hope you have a great day.
You're supposed to hand me the flyer.
Oh, right. You have a flyer.
Yep. Thank you. And then
Yep.
that's it. You're supposed to stop.
Oh, wait.
Stay away from this guy.
Don't waste your time.
It'll happen. It's happened to me. Okay? One more. Roberta, you want to do it?
No, but just a question for you. In the situation you just played, have you ever asked the person why they don't want to go?
That's a good idea. I have. And there was one guy, he's actually the caretaker of the graveyard. I found out afterwards. He turned into one of my biggest supporters. He said, "You're not going to want me to vote for you." I said, "Why not?" He says, "Because I think that the IRS should be abolished. I think I should have the right to walk with a gun on my hip." And I just smiled and I said, "Mr. Growler, you're my man. You're going to vote for me." And you assume that they will. Sometimes they're just like, "No, you guys in the schools, you want to abolish the school. You want seniors eating dog food." And you say, "Sir, I'm afraid you're mistaken, but here's my flyer anyway." No! I once had somebody chase me down the street. "Take this back, take this back." I was getting signatures door to door. She came up and he says, "No, I can't. I saw it right there, flyer. No. She took the pen and scratched her name. But yes, you can try, but again, keep it brief. A, the guy's not going to vote for you, so why waste your time on him? There's a whole rest of the neighborhood there. Give it a shot. Don't let me talk you out of that,
But in contrary, you could organize the campaign like feature to educate people, because if people didn't know the difference between serial killer and libertarian, it's never gonna win.
That's true, but you got to remember, he's one person. I had,
Absolutely.
48,000 people.
Absolutely. My point is not targeting the single person. Because when you go into from door to door, you're targeting the single person. Can you target the broader audience?
Well, you say that, and I thought of something you could do. When you go down and you're making your notes for your Farley file about this guy, you could take him and guys like him, and when you get home, you can sign up for Cato Institute. So start getting things from Cato.
Sign up for Cato Institute, it would be really difficult, especially for the elderly people, because they don't understand the position. And plus, in addition to this, the brothers who standing behind the Cato Institute, they are represented to the majority of the people in the United States like two monsters. Whose only idea is to destroy the country.
Just an example. For example, if somebody says, "Oh, you libertarians, you're all pro-abortion." But no, let me sign you up for Libertarians for Life. You can get on their newsletter. So you're right, you can think of something. There's something you can do with these guys. But when you're going door to door, that's not the time. You make the note, you go back to the shop, and then you do it.
You want to volunteer?
Sure! Come on up.
Dan should come next year, so give him some practice.
All right, let me go back to my nutrition facts here.
All right.
Total fat, 0 grams. Wow.
Ding dong.
Somebody's at the door. How about that?
How you doing? I'm Dan O'Neill.
Hey, Dan. I'm Ken. Nice to meet you.
I'm running for president of the United States.
Dude, really? Man, oh man. Why Why are you running for president?
I want to abolish the federal government.
Ah, man. You know what? I'm a member of the Anarchists of America. Our slogan is Anarchists of the World Unite.
Oh, that's
Did you see
great.
my bumper sticker? It says, I'm anarchist and I vote.
Oh, that's great.
Hey, listen, what can I do to help you, man?
I was wondering if you could run my campaign.
Well, would it take a lot of time?
I mean, whatever you want to do, it's fine. It doesn't really matter.
Well, tell you what, I'll volunteer for your campaign. Where do you want me to sign up? Whatever.
Sign right here.
Sure, here you go.
All right, thank you very much. Hey, I'm going to be calling you tonight. Thank you.
Oh, cool. Thanks a lot.
And here's the brochure.
All right, thanks. And I'll be voting for you, man. You the man.
All right, cool.
Anarchist Unite. And that's exactly what it bowls you over. That's exactly what happens. When somebody's like, my first race, I was visiting the polls, and my mom and dad were at one of the polls handing out stuff. My mom's like, vote for my son, which really works. I had my daughters out there. She was like, what, 8 at the time? Vote for my dad, chill the sign, vote for kids. People can't, they can't get away from that. But I'm talking to a voter, and my mom answered, would you vote for my son, please? He looks at, libertarian! This guy's got my vote! And he's talking to my mom and dad saying, that's your son? You got the best son in the world! And I'm like, it bowls you over when it happens. Just don't let it knock you out when the other end happens. So there's door-to-door. It's a lot of fun, especially on a nice day. And you don't have to go to the door, you walk by, the guy's got his clippers out there working on the hedges. Stop. Hey, how's it going? My name's Kent. No, not the Cookers. Well, you get the idea. Never turned down a chance to talk to voters. You run into them everywhere. You know, I gotta tell you a quick story. First time I ran, I was afraid. I was nervous. I thought, slash tires, threatening phone calls, things like that. But I found out that regular politicians, they care about the neighborhood. That's why they run. Most of them truly, deeply, and honestly care to do the best they possibly can. Now, quite often they're dead wrong about what needs to be done, but I was surprised to find their hearts were in the right place. And one way that shocked me the most, I was only 2-3 weeks into the campaign, my phone rang. Is this the candidate? Yes. Listen. Your opponent is down at Alphathorpe Park right now at the McKinley Civic Association picnic, and she's shaking hands. You should be there too. Who is this? That's not important. What's important is that you get down there now. Click. And in all the years I've been doing this, I've got one piece of heat. People care. People have respect for you because you're doing these things. And when you're door-to-door, you're their buddy as well.
I've run town council races before. My older brother ran for mayor and council. And we actually hit every single door in the whole town.
All right.
Almost twice, And we still lost because he was a Republican running against a huge Democrat race in North Brunswick.
I used to work up there.
Yeah, I'm helping Joe out, and I don't even think we're bothering on door to door. It's like a whole state race. So I'm thinking what do you do in a situation where Joe's just a regular guy, he's not a millionaire, he can't just sell fun TV ads. Like to run in New Jersey, you gotta have big money because you got the New York and Philadelphia TV market.
You don't want to do TV. Now, statewide race you're talking about?
Yeah, he's running for U.S. Senate.
Well, what I did when I ran for governor last time is I advertised on cable news, CNN headline news, different markets. In Erie, it was $1 a minute for a minute of TV. In Philadelphia, in Harrisburg, it was $50 a minute. In Philadelphia, it was a couple $100 a minute. What I did was a direct mail saying, Libertarian TV on the outside envelope. And inside saying, how would you like to have Libertarian TV commercials in your neighborhood? Here, just mark down where you are on the map, and I'll do it. I ran hundreds of TV commercials, like over 300 airings of my TV commercial in 2002. And it was all because of that targeted mailing, where people said, yeah, I want it in my neighborhood. Now, are you going to hit everything? You're going to hit New York market? And I bet it's got to be hundreds of dollars a minute, if not thousands of dollars a minute. So you may not be able to do that, but there is a way that you can hit it. It's something called run-of-the-schedule programming, where they guarantee you they're going to run it 10 times a day, but they're not going to say when. So some are going to be 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, others, they'll guarantee you at least one prime time hit. And then after that, they'll slot you in somewhere. So that's one way of doing it. That's what I did in the Philadelphia marketplace, because that's the only expensive one that we have. TV advertising, it's not the best way to do it, in my opinion, because it's too scattered. It's a good way to make your supporters happy. The supporters like to see that, but it's pretty hard to change somebody's opinion in a one-minute spot. The better way to do that is, especially now with the internet, is to do those little 1-minute podcasts. 1 minute, not more, not less. Not like Ken on abortion, and you send it out. 3 days later, Ken on the schools, and then all of a sudden, Ken on beheadings, whatever it is. In 1 minute, and it's got your opinion in it. Those things, they get sent out fast, especially Twitter. As I said, I'm not a twit, but I've seen a lot of positive results from what I've been doing with Twitter. Same thing with Facebook. TV, radio, newspaper, you reach old people. If you want to reach other people, heck with it. I didn't do any TV advertising. I haven't even thought about it, or radio advertising. Except, the only kind of advertising you want to do is free advertising. Cable companies have public service slots. Half hour. You can do a half hour, put anything you want into it. Comcast, there's a forum you fill out. I've done it for my campaign, I've done it for Toastmasters, I've done it for any kind of an organization. They give you free TV. Now it's like an infomercial type thing, and you've got to watch them all, but some people are going to do it. I was on Pennsylvania Cable Network this past Tuesday night talking about ballot access issues. And I was looking at my website, all of a sudden, it's doubled on that day. It was an obscure thing on an obscure topic. We're talking about ballot access. But it doubled my hits. So these free things, just get them out there. Also, when you go to a school, and go to schools. You got to go to schools. Get them young. I can tell you stories about getting them young. But they have outlets there too. They have school radio stations and stuff, and you're reaching the young people. And just to add one more thing, do not do newspapers. Fewer than 10% of the people now read newspapers. Letters to the editor used to be big. Nobody buys newspapers. Who reads newspapers? I tell you, that's a lot.
I buy it when I'm in it.
Sorry?
I buy the newspaper when I'm in it.
Oh yeah, right. It's something nice when you got that clipping rather than just an email cut and paste.
What do you suggest in terms of reaching out to schools? You reach out to like the social studies department or the principal, or how do you go about that?
There are 3 main ways of doing it. The best way is have a kid go in there and say, I was talking to the candidate and he says he can come in. Because the kid can get under the skin there. After that, the next best way is what you were saying. Social studies teacher, political science, anybody in those fuzzy non-science things. The last person, the absolute last person you want to call is the principal. Because when the principal says no, it's no. Period. So when all other avenues have failed, then you go to the principal. Remember, there's more than one avenue to the school. If the poli-sci guy says no, the social studies guy may say yes. And then you can even go with a religion teacher. I have a solution to the abortion crisis. I want to hear about it. So, many ways to sing with the church, many ways to do a church. Churches let you speak. Tea parties. I've been doing more tea parties this time around, this race than the last race. We are not that far apart. I think the only issue we disagree on is immigration. But hey, I'm running for governor. When people bring up immigration, I said, well, Jersey's pretty tough, but I think we should keep the bridges up. And it does, and it gets a laugh out of me. But I pick on you guys. You're my foil.